I'm delighted to be able to speak in this debate. As a friend of the RMT, that's a new guise that I rejoice in. And to talk about improving the accessibility of trains is of critical importance for Scotland to meet her net zero commitments. And during First Minister's questions last week, I highlighted the outrageous cost that the people of Falkirk face to use Scotland's trains. And I want to remind the Chamber of those figures. For someone who travels from Falkirk to Edinburgh and back every day of the working week, it costs £72.50. And for someone travelling from Falkirk to Glasgow and back every day of the working week, it costs £85.50. And in her answer to my question, the First Minister made a pledge to the people of Scotland that her government would make rail fares as affordable as possible. And the following day, the First Minister's answers to my question had become a pledge splashed across the front page of the Metro newspaper. No doubt the handiwork of the dozens of media spin types that the First Minister has at her disposal. And I look forward to hearing in the weeks and months ahead the plans that this government has to make rail fares as affordable as possible. And by the way, in plain English, that means, in many instances, cutting the fares. That's what that means. So we look forward to hearing about the plan that the government has to cut fares and get more people to use the trains. Now, we must make it easier for people to buy tickets. We must improve parking at train stations, as well as integrating bus services. We must increase the number of train services that are provided. We must be reopening closed railway stations, a commitment that was in the Scottish Conservative Manifesto in 2021. In short, we have many steps to take until we can say that Scotland's trains are fully accessible. And there is not one solution to answer all these problems, but there are many strands, and I'd like to highlight one of those strands, and that would be the introduction of an Oyster card scheme in Scotland. Plans to do so were previously announced by the SNP, the introduction of a Saltire card, but recycling and reheating announcements is what the SNP do so well with those dozens of media types in the ministerial towers. And in 2012, the Deputy First Minister then, Nicola Sturgeon, said, "The Saltire card will be a hugely exciting development for transport in Scotland and will help us achieve a truly world-class public transport network. It will make it easier, more attractive and possibly cheaper for people to get around using public transport and will help further connect our cities." 2012, the Oyster card has been used in London since 2003. It's hardly unproven technology. And yet here we are, 2022, that's 10 years later. The SNP have failed to introduce this. Another occasion when eyes have been taken off the ball, perhaps. Presiding Officer, what is stopping them? It can be done. And how do we know this? Because in COP26, delegates were given Oyster-like cards to enable free access around Glasgow on trains and subway and buses. COP26 delegates were privileged enough to get them. Perhaps the Minister will explain why the people of Scotland don't merit the same privilege of such a service. There's no excuse. And, Presiding Officer, the SNP and Labour portray bringing the rail operator back into public ownership as the answer to solve all the problems that the rail network has. It is not. Problems of cost, investment and ticketing will remain no matter who operates the railway. There are many problems to solve that require innovation, creativity and accountability. We need more services, we need better connectivity between different forms of public transport, we need to reopen lines. The railway being back in full public ownership, it is now the SNP government's responsibility to ensure all of this and more is delivered. They have taken the responsibility to be the train operator and now they must deliver on their commitments. No doubt, true to form, the SNP will seek to deflect blame and attention as they have done with almost every other area of public policy. Scotland's railways are now their responsibility, and taking the railways back into public ownership has simply reinforced this. Now, Presiding Officer, the buck stops with the Minister.
Thank you.